Women of Reddit, what are some obvious hints that you made to guys you were into that flew right over their heads? Completely undressed in front of him and undid my hair. Then proceeded to tell him I was taking a bath, and I lit candles and shut the lights off. He followed me in, got my hopes up, and then sat fully clothed on the toilet talking to me about serial killers for 30 minutes. I'm the guy. I was making eyes with this girl all night at a party in college. Finally, when I bumped into her at the keg, she turned to me and asked me my name. I was really nervous. I laughed and asked her why she wanted to know my name. She then said, I ought to know your name if we'll be bumping into each other all night. I thought she was telling me to stop bothering her, so I said sorry and left. Like I said, I was nervous. We should go for drinks sometime. Well, I don't really go to bars, and you'd have to drive, so you couldn't come to mine for drinks. I could always stay over if you'd like. Maybe. My recliner chair's pretty comfy to sleep in. Eventually I just went for the I've been flirting with you for months now. Are you interested or not approach. He just didn't think for a second that it was mutual, so never noticed the hints. My now husband and I were childhood friends and we reconnected when I was in college. A few weeks into dating we were hanging out alone at his parents' house. Then this happened. Me, I haven't seen your bedroom in a while. Him, it hasn't changed. 8 years later, we still laugh about that one. Had a near miss with my ex before we started dating. She messaged me saying she just picked up some drinks and was about to go to a friend's party, but she asked if she could visit me instead. Stupid me was like, oh, but I'm sure you'd have more fun at the party, and this went on for a few minutes. Then she finally had enough and said, I got drinks. I really like you and I'm horny, so do you still want me to go the party? Ooh. When I was in high school, a girl from my class said I should come over and study in her bedroom with her. I was like, nah, I don't really care if I fail the math test anyways. Whoops, I also did fail the math test. Met a nice, interesting, funny boy at a bar, still living at home, relevant, and we talked for a good hour or two. He walked me to the train station, and it turns out I just missed the last train home. I said, gee, too bad you live with your parents. I could totally crash at your place. He said it's fine and we headed back. He made me up the spare bed at the other end of the house and said goodnight. After a while I texted him saying I couldn't sleep. Did he want company? So we hung out in his room. He invited me into his bed since I looked uncomfortable sitting next to it. We spent the night together in a single bed without a single thing happening. I'd only ever been with one guy, so I just figured I had no mojo. Turns out he was trying to be respectful since he really liked me, and we ended up dating for 5 years. Chatting with him on Facebook every single day for 3 months, inviting him to things, giving him tickets to sports games. 3 months later he grabbed my hand to help me off a curb and I didn't let go. Suddenly he got it. 5 years later we're still together. I'm less subtle now. I'll just grab his penis. I'm a guy, but my biggest missed sign has got to be sophomore year of college. I was hanging out with this girl late night on a Friday one-on-one in a common area, and we're talking about trips we've taken around the globe. She mentions that she got a pair of Pikachu panties in Japan and asks me if I wanted to see them. I said nah, that's pretty weird, and then left like 15 minutes later. I still look back on that moment and get flush with embarrassment. A long time ago I ran into my then extremely fit, extremely attractive neighbor one night and we got into a conversation about how crappy our fridges were. After a few minutes she asked me if I wanted to come in and check out her fridge. I was like, dang, this lady really wants to talk about her fridge. I guess I'll be a good neighbor and listen for a while. I know. So, I went inside and she proceeded to show me her fridge while standing really close to me. I remember thinking, dang, this lady has no concept of personal space. I honestly thought she just wanted to talk about her fridge. For some reason it never dawned on me that no sane woman would ever invite a virtual stranger back to their apartment if they weren't interested in doing something fun and dirty, or murder. But she wasn't the type. Needless to say I left about 5 minutes after entering. Guy here. I was walking a friend home one evening and I mentioned to her that I am quite oblivious about when a girl likes me. I said a girl could smack me on the head and I wouldn't realize she was into me. She then smacked me on the back of my head and I responded with ow. What the hell was that for? The day my husband, then friend, went to tell me he was into me and wanted to officially start dating. He was super nervous. Since he prompted the date and discussion, I was going to let him start it off and then I'd just be like yes, me too, while he was unable to communicate for about 10 minutes and was skirting it due to being super nervous. I flat out told him you're not going to be rejected, just say it. I must have said it at least 3 times before I gave up and just kissed him. I'm a dude that has missed some obvious hints. The worst one was when I was in college. I was at a house party and a bunch of us were playing some drinking game with cards. If someone drew a certain card, then everyone had to ask the person to their left a question and that person then had to ask a question to the person on their left. Whomever did not ask a question or answered a question posed to them lost and had to drink. There was this very attractive brunette sitting to my left. When it was my turn to ask her a question, I said nice pants. Wanna duck? Note, this was not an actual attempt to get laid. I was drunk and thought it would be hilarious because most of the questions were pretty innocent. To everyone's surprise, she looked at me and said yes, then took a long drink of her beer. I did not have sex that night. I asked my current boyfriend out for coffee 12 times. He would always just respond with, I don't like coffee much, and when I would invite him to get lunch or dinner, he'd always invite another of our mutual friends to join in because he thought I was inviting him as a friend. Jesus Christ, my boyfriend might be the most oblivious person I've ever met, but by far, my favorite moment was before we started dating. I'd already been flirting with him hard for months and he wasn't getting it. So on his birthday, I sent a very aggressively flirty text followed by the bikini emoji and oops, looks like I lost something. The whole conversation was but I thought it was obvious enough. Apparently it wasn't. Pretty sure he thought we were joking around, so instead of a steamy response, I got a LOL nice one. I got frustrated and just said I'm sending you nudes now. Happy birthday. He got so flustered. It was so cute that I couldn't be mad about my failed sexting attempt. I sat in front of the door and made him pick me up in order to leave, taking off my bra under my shirt every night we hung out with friends. Eventually I was straddling him in his bed and tickling him until he finally asked if I wanted him to kiss me. Let me elucidate that for you. She's doing the door thing again. I suppose she finds it cute. Whatever. Bras must be uncomfortable. And apparently she's not enjoying hers. And trusts me enough to not be shy about it. Whatever. Jesus Christ. I know women get physical with their friends more often. But this tickling has got to stop. I am so deep in the friend zone my status changed from lamb to body pillow. 8. This has been going on for a while now. Maybe she likes me? Better ask. I had been studying with friends all day for a chemistry final my second year of college. All my friends were freshmen because I had switched majors. We went back to my, now, boyfriend's dorm to drink a little and decompress. Note, his roommate had finished finals and moved out earlier that day, so he was the only one living there. We're a pretty open friend group, and tipsy me had been complaining about how I hadn't gotten laid in months. Fast forward to when everyone leaves, I ask if I can sleep over on his futon because I don't want to drive home. He says no problem. I let him know I can't sleep in jeans and take them off. He turns around to sit at his desk and do something else. I go to sleep. Months later, September 2017, he admits he was nervous as hell and didn't want to mess up. So a few days later, I was the one to eventually just pull him into his bedroom and duck the daylights out of him. Been dating over a year now. He's still a gentle, oblivious lil nugget and I adore him. My current BF and I met through Tinder. The conversation had been going pretty well, so we decided to meet up at a bar for some drinks. A drink and some chips later, the bar was closing, so we walked around the car park and into the warehouse. Pretty much the New Zealand version of Walmart. We ended up in the book section reading the steamy parts of romance novels to each other and having a good laugh. He then showed off his car and drove me back to where mine was parked. Despite all of my flirting, he didn't make a single move. I left feeling fairly disheartened. I texted him when I got home saying I got back safe and he replied with I feel like I should have kissed you, to which I told him that's what I'd wanted. Fast forward a few days, I drove to his house with pizza, cuddled up with him to watch a movie, and just before I had to leave I decided that I had to make the move. Been together ever since, but I won't let him live it down. I'm shy and bad at making moves, so I bake them cookies and other sweets until the end of days. Sent a guy friend a picture of me in just a tank top, pulling the lower part of it down to cover my lady bits. Honestly a really sexy picture I thought. Also let him know I was bored and lonely. Nothing came from it. He told me a couple weeks later that he had a huge crush on me but I had moved out of town. Before I started dating my husband I went swimming at his apartment and asked to take a shower so I could rinse the chlorine out of my hair, freshly dyed red, wanted to keep it nice. I asked him to untie my bikini top because I couldn't reach it and he did. I let it fall and turned around to face him topless and he had left me alone and shut the door behind him. He was a decent guy, I give him props for that. I was at a party talking to a girl about 2 weeks ago. Everything was going great when sex casually got brought up and she mentioned how I come really fast. It's like what I'm known for. Pretty clear sign, right? Well, obviously not. I said, girl, me too. We stopped talking pretty quick after that.